BMW is patenting a screw that makes it more difficult for you to work on your car. This is what it's going to look like. This came out a few days ago. And when you take a look at the description, they'll tell you exactly what they see the problem is. They're talking about normal screws like slotted head, hex screws, Torx, Phillips, and they say that these screws provide a disadvantage. The disadvantage of those screws is that they occur so frequently that these screws can be loosened or tightened in a simple manner by persons. However, there are applications of screw connections in which only a restricted group of people is to be made possible to manipulate the screw connection or to loosen or produce a screw connection. The object of this invention is to provide a screw which has a specific drive structure which cannot be screwed or screwed on with only a small number of standard screwing tools. What they're saying here is that they see it as a problem that you're able to work on your own car. The fact that you can take the screw out and put the screw back in with tools that you know how to gain access to is a problem to BMW. Now, I've seen many people in comment sections on websites going over it in the way that I'm used to seeing people go over it. Rather than just point at the person that's trying to screw you over, they always point at each other. Rather than, I'll give you an example. If there's a running track and I go over to the track and then I throw a banana peel on it, I find it amazing how many people will say, oh my God, look at how stupid those runners are. How could they miss that banana peel, rather than blaming me for placing a fucking banana peel on a running track with the intention of hurting people. It drives me nuts. Everybody focuses on the wrong problem. When I was talking about gyms that tried to make it difficult to cancel on purpose, they would require certified mail. It became a conversation of, well, you should use this certified mail service, rather than why the fuck is a gym allowed to make it difficult to cancel on purpose intentionally to take your money. When we talk about all of these issues, it always becomes an ego and a pissing contest. I am a smart mechanic, or anybody that services their own cars needs to stay up on the tools that they need for it. Obviously, somebody like me who stays up on the tools we need for it are not going to have this problem like idiots like you that complain. And this bothers me because at the end of the day, they are creating a problem that does not need to exist. And they're creating that problem for the sole reason of making it more difficult for you to service your personal property. To me, that makes them the enemy. That makes me my adversary. I try to avoid, whenever possible, working with companies or people that are my adversary. If I'm giving you money, I want you to be my partner, not my adversary. And in this case, BMW is very obviously making themselves an adversary. This is not a case where they're making something more difficult to repair because they are taking in, a fluorescent backlit screen with a giant inverter board and saying, we want to use an LED backlit screen with a BGA LED driver because it is smaller and more energy efficient. That's more difficult to repair, but frankly, it's a better design and I support it. This is just making shit difficult to be a dick. And that is very different. And there are going to be people that decide to go to the dealer as a result of this. You may think, oh my God, what kind of idiot's not just going to order a screwdriver? But I have a lot of customers that are way smarter than me in a number of areas. They are intelligent chemists, they're intelligent physicists, they're good researchers, they are very, very smart people that accidentally bought the 1 LPR instead of 4 LPR screwdriver from Weha as a pentalobe when they wanted to open the bottom of their MacBook Air. Apple did the same thing. They made, instead of using a Torx screw or a Phillips screw, they decided to be dicks and use this pentalobe screw for the bottom of the iPhone 4S and the newer MacBook Air. When I say newer, I mean A1369, A1370, as opposed to the A1237, A1304s that are the beeping MCP79U. I can't believe I'm calling that newer. That really does show my age, that a computer that came out in 2010 in my brain is newer. But when they decided to do that, it was more difficult. They put a step in place. They decided that the screwdriver you need to open your device is not a screwdriver that you could buy at Home Depot or Lowe's or a standard store that sells tools. And at that point, that meant that you now had to do research to figure out what it is. When you read that it's pentalobe, you may not know the difference between a 1 LPR and a 4 LPR, which means you may buy the wrong pentalobe. You have to wait for that to get delivered because you can't buy it at a local store, which means you may not be able to do something that you wanted to do as quickly as you wanted to do it, which means you may be more likely to go to the manufacturer. They are putting these obstacles in place on purpose. The obstacle is not there to stop you from doing it altogether, nor is that the point that I want people to focus on. The obstacle is there to lower the likelihood that you do the job. And if you have 1,000 people that are looking to complete a certain repair, there's going to be a number of those 1,000 people that say fuck it and throw up their hands based on something like a screwdriver. Anytime you put an obstacle in place, it decreases the likelihood of success. That's what obstacles do. It's not about like, I'm strong, I'll get over the obstacle, or I know I'm smart enough to get over the obstacle. That's not the point. The point is the obstacle doesn't belong there to begin with. And every time you insert an obstacle, you're making it more difficult to do something. And BMW has decided that they want to make it more difficult for you to be able to fix your own car for no fucking reason. Now, there are people that may say this is just a patent. It doesn't mean they're going to use it. And I don't like that argument. Spotify did something similar. When I was talking about this patent, identification of taste attributes from an audio signal, Spotify is granted a patent for this. It analyzes what people say, it analyzes background noise to determine where you are, and then stores incoming data to guess your mood or emotional state. That's creepy. even if Spotify is not using it, why the fuck did you make the time to write a 6 or 12-page patent based on spying on me? It's kind of like, I don't plan to kill my wife. I just have this little thing written down that goes over the deepest section of the lake, the best place to put a body, the time of night that nobody's around, how to cover my license plate, the streets that have no lights on them. And, I just write this down and have it in my cupboard drawer right next to my wife. Like, if she opened that, I would not have as an argument, well, honey, I don't plan to use that. Something tells me that wouldn't go over well. And it shouldn't. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. With that, pet little Blackberry. Look at how well behaved she was the entire video. She did not interrupt my video a single time. Which means we're going to pet the berry. And we're going to give the berry some chin scratches. And we're going to give you some treats. We're going to give you some attention. You want some attention? I'm going to give you a grooming with your favorite little scratchy tool that I have. That's right. You're going to get so much attention. You're such a good girl today. You're a good kitty. You're such a good kitty. Good girl. Good Blackberry. All right. See you in the next one. Bye now.